TikToks that feel illegal to watch. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Like an animal, but then I've seen men become not people.
Like literally
not
change.
be the people. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is like lycanthropy, and there's these understandings of what the watchers are capable of doing that most people are just woefully ignorant of. And that's why they're perishing. It's because they lack a basic understanding of history. And one of the predominant understandings of what a watcher, specific class of celestial beings, is capable of is augmenting itself. They can shapeshift. That is by their nature. They're literally called metaschizmadzotoi in the Greek in the New Testament. And it's because he says it's marvel not, because Hasatan, you could say, like, transforms himself. That's a good word for it. But he shapeshifts himself into an angel of light. And his messengers, his apostles, disciples, they do the same thing. And he's like, this is because they are capable of becoming anything they want to be in order to deceive on one side of the equation. And that's what they'll do. And so when people start engaging in these necromantic rituals and other stuff, and they start to seek the embodiment of these celestial ones, they can get these things on them and in them, and they can't contain them. And some of these guys who are messing with this stuff, who don't come from the bloodline, are incapable of cohabitating like a parasite, and they feed off of each other, and they can't handle it. And so that's why families are recruited from these bloodlines, and children are recruited out, even if they don't know anything about it. Like you said, the vast majority of people who come from these bloodlines, there's a lot of muddying of the waters. There's a lot of purity that's been changed. There's a lot of half-breeds. And there's a lot of quarter breeds, right? There's a lot of people that don't know this stuff, and they start to get into lesser magic, and all of a sudden it's like the doors of everybody open to them. But that's why. It's because they can host these things better. Whereas those that don't, they get taken over by this stuff, and they can't change back. They can't return, in a sense. Like, people become completely possessed and are incapable of expelling the darkness after that. And who do you turn to? You're like, you're going to go to the Catholic guy who's all into the same thing that you're into, you know? Like, most people don't understand what a real deliverance is required for somebody that has gone down this far down, where they are consuming people. Like, that's a deep, devastating psychological, spiritual shock, physical, your liver, like the health. This is why I'm huge into health, because I physically had to try to find ways to help people who have done all of these things. Like, the consumption of human blood does horrific things to the human body. You know, and this is a major practice within this. These families do drink blood. That's why we have these vampire class of people. It's not some kind of myth. People consume blood in order to live, extend their life force.
That's because the Nephilim bloodline is from the fallen angels anyway. Like Nyos, Mel's Hole, the Yonaguni Monument, hey, what's the Mel's Hole debunked? Let me know in the comment.
You know why they keep you at the Galapagos? Why, if you go, you're monitored 24/7? Why 98% of the islands are off limits to the public? It's because of places like San Cristobal Island. You know, the one named after that dog-headed Christ bearer, St. Christopher. And St. Christopher Island, one of the lesser known islands, restricted for environmental preservation.
Ooh.
Bullshit. Now pay attention. There are ruins there that defy everything we're told about history. Not Polynesians, not South Americans, but something older. Locals told stories of giant dog-headed beings that once lived there, only to be driven underground after some kind of catastrophe. Oh, and the stone on that island, it has the same interlocking design as places like Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuaman, and Pumapunku. We're talking laser precision cuts that modern tech still struggles to replicate. And yet, the mainstream wants us to believe some primitive culture with no written language did this with copper chisels? Bitch, please! This video is for entertainment and what's that thing people say? Alright, and satire purpose.
I heard Arizona White Mountains has a lot of hidden stuff.
What's your favorite quote?
Never complain, never explain. And what it means is, don't complain about life. Don't explain what you're doing or why you're doing it. Just do it. And let your actions speak for themselves.
He just explained the quote. I'm just kidding.
I'll you rip you down. I'll twist your head off. All of you, get out. You rip your head off, you prick.
What the f? What the f? Yo, he's mad.
He's not mad.
What the f? Man, he's just trying to grab me out the car.
Eddie's a sweet man. They did something to him.
So Michelle Obama finally admitted it, y'all. She said it on camera. So what we not gonna do is try to spin it as if we didn't see what she did and hear what she said. The proof is in the pudding. You're gonna hear the same thing I heard, and you're gonna see the same thing I seen. I understand people make mistakes and have slip-ups, but when you and your husband keep slipping up over the years, come on now.
Come on
So
now.
here's where she messed up. When she asked Marlon Wayans a question, she should have said, so you particularly as a black man, instead of saying, warms my heart particularly as a black man.
What?
But here y'all go.
Marlon a bit about, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender. And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a black
As a black man.
Would you
Oh man.
care to share?
Now it's the stutter for me. It's like she knew she fucked up. Am I tripping? Y'all let me know down below in the comments.
Hey, Joan Rivers said it years ago.
How old were you when you realized that the sunshades for cars were supposed to go outside the car? This entire time, you are going to share this video with everybody. Prepare to be blown away. And we're going to get so many people mad in the comments. 1. The sunshade. There is a gap between the sunshade itself and the window. When you put it inside the car, scientists discovered that little gap is enough to trap so much heat that it'll actually heat up your car worse, especially if it's 95 degrees or more. So scientists said, hey, just put it on the outside. That is how they're meant to be used. I said, I don't want to get it stolen. But then I looked at some of the sunshades I have. I noticed that little band that it comes with, the little clip part to keep it all together, it's long enough so that it can actually wrap around the front windshield of any car. I tried it on a Kia, I tried it on like a Ford F-150 and a Subaru, and they worked. And I'm like, is that why it says one size fits all? I thought that was meaning like the window size, but apparently no, you could actually put it on the outside, clip it inside so people don't jack it, and you're good to go. And apparently that actually helps reduce so much more heat away from your vehicle. But if you put it inside and there's enough of a gap between the sunshade and the window, you're causing essentially a greenhouse. But now you know.
I have never seen a car sunshade inside a car in my life.
Have y'all seen the video of the lady who found that there's a secret house under her house in her basement? And that's not even the catch. The catch is, since she's moved in, she's been smelling like something rotten in her house. And she's been cleaning, fabulosoing, putting stuff down the drain, everything, trying to get the smell out. Nothing was working. So then she got some plumbers in, and the plumbers found like a secret entrance behind two walls. Like the wall was set up so you couldn't go through it. And they found out there's a whole house in her basement under her house. And what's even crazier, they found human remains in that secret house. Windows boarded up, everything. And the landlord, when she spoke to the landlord said, oh, I have no idea. What do you mean you have no idea that was there? So now it's being investigated as a crime scene, because when she went in there, what she saw, she was like, nah, this doesn't look like it was natural. Like, she's saying she's seen claw marks and all of that on the carpet and stuff. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm moving out. Moving out.
Get some cave divers. They'll even create a map for you. Look at the lion. The tiger's like, get off me. Lion is like physical touch. Tiger, don't touch.
Last night, we just witnessed the 5th largest concert in history, and it was to see Lady Gaga.
I like some of the Gaga songs.
In fact, she actually broke the record for the highest attended standalone concert ever. A staggering 2.1 million people attended the concert in Rio, and it was all paid for by the Brazilian government in order to boost the city's struggling economy. And this wasn't cheap. To put on an event this size, they had to have thousands of military personnel and police officers scan each attendee through metal detectors as they entered, and put up dozens of these giant screens so that everyone could see. And although this concert was technically free, they predicted that this one night alone is going to generate roughly 100 million for the city's economy.
So Gaga generated more for Brazilian economy than the Olympics.
You take a bunch of Ozempic and then you get into some pizza. You know that thing where like your body doesn't really tell you it's full until 20 minutes into eating or something? There's a little validity to that, just on habit. The thing is, your stomach is digesting at such a slow rate when you're on Ozempic that you get so much pizza in the stomach at once. It kind of makes an executive decision and it goes, this is a non-starter. I can't have rotting pizza. Some people can pipe down like 9 slices of pizza before the bell rings. Like, oh, I got 9. And then you'll get gastroparesis, which is like the cessation of digestion altogether. Sometimes it goes up one way, sometimes it goes the other way, sometimes it stays in there and causes you massive pain everywhere, and you go to the hospital, they pump your stomach. If you make really bad choices on this kind of drug...
Who's this guy? Is he a medical doctor?
Look at this. This is a test flight of a new rocket from a spaceport in Norway. Moments after launch today, Spectrum spun out of control, crashing into the water, exploding. The company behind the rocket says the flight, quote, met its set goals. According to the manufacturer, this marked the first time a rocket capable of reaching orbit has launched from continental Europe.
Wow, the EU is trying.
The effect Ozempic is having on America right now is wild. Weight Watchers, the brand that has been around for over 60 years, has just filed for bankruptcy. So they survived 5 wars, 6 financial crises, a global pandemic, but they couldn't survive Ozempic. And the craziest part is that not only are they $1 billion in debt, but at some point they just said, if you can't beat them, join them. Because they actually tried to transition from selling food and weight loss programs and turned into a telehealth service that provides access to medications like Ozempic. In fact, medications like Ozempic are so prevalent in the country right now that they are believed to be part of the reason America has actually seen its first decline in obesity in decades. Approximately 20 million people, or 6% of the American population, is now on these weight loss medications.
Ozempic is cheating. Getting healthy isn't a competition.
Tem gajo de trás. Tem gajo de trás. Tem gajo de trás.
You got your trust, is just what he said. Wow. In God we trust. Amen.
Hardcore.
This is a fantastic video. Is it real or is it AI? I can't tell anymore.
Well, 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 it ain't so funny when the rabbit has the gun. What if I told you on day 1 of the Diddy trial, all of these celebrities have already been named, but it's one certain celebrity right here that really has Diddy nervous, and I'm gonna tell you why. Look at this list and I'm gonna break down the ones I think you should pay attention to. I'll get to Michael Myers, but first let's go to Kid Cudi. He is listed in the indictment as having his car blown up by Diddy because Cassie went to him after her and Diddy had a fallout. Then the next name is Kim Porter. Well, we know she mysteriously passed away after she said that she had a tell-all book about Diddy coming out. And that brings me to my next one, Al B. Shore, who had a child by the name of Quincy that is Diddy's stepson, and Kim Porter is also the child's mother. So Al B. Shore and Diddy both dealt with Kim Porter, and Al B. Shore had a mysterious illness that almost took him out of here. Another name on that list is Lori Harvey, and her and Diddy dated. But guess what was crazy about this? Lori Harvey actually dated Diddy and his son Justin. I wonder what crazy went on there. And who else did Lori Harvey date? Michael B. Jordan. What could be going on between Michael B. Jordan, Diddy, and Lori Harvey? But it's Michael Myers we need to be paying attention to, and this P. Diddy party in 2002 called the greatest party of all time. That might be what has Diddy allegedly nervous at the start of this trial. This Diddy party, which was coined the greatest party of all time, had all celebrities, but it was invite only. If you had a scuff on your shoe, you could not go in. There was literally only one invite per celebrity. You weren't even allowed to bring anybody, maybe security, one person. But it was this Conan interview that Diddy did that may have sunk him, and reason why he is so nervous, because he broke one of the craziest laws at this party, allegedly. Sean Diddy Combs boasts about locking women up at parties in resurfaced interview. Side note, Michael B. Jordan was invited at all the intimate Hollywood parties that Diddy had. And at this party of all parties, Diddy said you needed beautiful ladies, of course. But it's just this statement right here. You gotta have water, and ladies love water. So if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave. So you gotta keep them there. You need locks on the doors. Conan O'Brien was shocked by the suggestion of using locks on the doors, even saying it sounded kind of dangerous. Then Diddy went on to describe it as a little kinky, also saying you needed a lot of heat and don't have any air conditioning because the heat affects the alcohol and it gets a little more comfortable and loose. It builds up a nice little sweat. Would that be to go along with the slippery baby oil? This is only day one of the jury selection, and it's already looking too freaky for me, and I don't like it. What if I told you?
You know, Jay-Z paid to have his and the wife off that list.
Watch people, because you can fake for a long time, but one day you're gonna show yourself to be a phony. That's what's true. You know what I mean? And that's what these, a lot of people are doing these days. What I want people to know is that don't support the phonies. Support the real. Be to yourself. Stay to yourself. Trust nobody. Trust nobody. Fear is stronger than love. Remember that. Fear is stronger than love. All the love I gave didn't mean nothing when it came to fear.
Love is stronger than fear, Tupac.
Overnight, we may have just witnessed the beginning of the first new war of 2025, and both countries have nuclear weapons. In the early hours of Wednesday morning, India bombed 9 different locations in Pakistan, which they say were terrorist infrastructure. And they say that this was in retaliation for the terrorist attack in Kashmir last month. In these strikes, at least 26 people, including a 3-year-old girl, have died, and at least 46 others have been injured. Pakistan's military spokesperson told CNN that the Indian attack is a blatant act of war. And in retaliation, Pakistan have claimed to have now shot down 5 Indian jets and a drone. And unfortunately, the situation is only intensifying. Artillery exchanges continue at the border, airspaces and airports have now been closed, and Pakistan's army have confirmed air and ground operations are now underway, saying India will now receive a comprehensive and decisive response. Over in India, several cities are now carrying out mock security drills, like response to air raids, evacuations, blackouts, and even medical procedures. Leaders from around the world are urging restraint, with Donald Trump calling the situation a shame, and the UN Secretary General saying that the world cannot afford a military confrontation between these 2 nuclear-armed nations. As things develop, I'll keep you guys updated.
God, please protect the innocents.
This was a very gross study, but it's one of my favorites. A little gross. You ready? Okay, so they brought people into their lab. They split them up into 2 different groups. They made the first group wear a sweatsuit where they catch your sweat and run on the treadmill. So they sweat a lot on the treadmill. The second group, they wore sweatsuits and they took them skydiving for the first time. Both groups sweat a lot. Treadmill, sweat, and skydiving sweat. And they gave them both sweat samples to smell, where these poor people didn't know what they were smelling. They went at everyone who smelled the skydiving sweat had an activation in their own amygdala, their own fear response triggered. In other words, when they smelled fear sweat, they didn't know why, they began to feel afraid. Everyone who smelled the treadmill sweat had no change at all. This means that, yes, we can talk about facial expressions and body language and vocal cues and words, but there's also something chemically happening with the people around us, that we can literally smell fear and we catch it. And that is also why it's real.
Is that how some animals smell fear then?
We are raising mentally weak children. Yes. Because we overdo for them. One of the concepts in the book I really love is if you do too much for your children, you are increasing your self-esteem by stealing theirs. Wow. That we develop mental toughness by solving problems. Right. So if my daughter would forget her homework at home, nobody's bringing it to school. Right. If she didn't bring a jacket on a cold day, even though her mother told her to, nobody's bringing her the jacket. When a child says, I'm bored, rather than you fix it, just say, I wonder what you're going to do about it. And then shut up. Let them begin to figure out their problem or the solutions to their problems rather than being overly involved with them.
Parents want to be friends with their kids before parenting these days.
Sister sent me this clip that's going around on TikTok, and one of the things that people think is that hip hop is homophobic, right? But here you have this guy sitting down explaining to a hip-hop journalist that actually the reality is that hip-hop has always had an explicitly LGBTQ, if you want to call it, agenda. Take a listen to this.
The industry grooms them to be open to it. Like if we go back to the Big Papa video, right? Why was there, you remember the scene in the bathroom? Why was there a transgender pissing in the bathroom with the, and the guy? You don't
Standing
remember?
up, right?
Yeah. Go to the scene when Buster's talking to her at the bar, and Big walk up and moved in, and then
that a man?
When she say true, stop it right there and look at the knot in her throat.
Not the knot in her throat. Talking about this young lady?
Her name is Shamika. She was from Queens and she got killed because she was dating her, didn't know it was a man, and went to have sex with her and found out she was a man, and she's dead, and he's in jail. What I believe is that the Tupac Biggie got so gangster and so big that the agenda that they was about to push on us, that they later pushed on us, it just got pushed back. They was getting ready to groom us right there. They was grooming us. We got a transgender in the Big Papa video in the bathroom and the lead woman. Not only in Big Papa and Warning, she's in the bed with Biggie, and then in the Flavor in Your Ear remix, she's dancing behind LL. Right. And Hype Williams is the director, and she's the lead in all 3 of those videos, and he's the director of all 3 of those videos. And it's rumored that that was his chick.
That is a major clue right there. So I wanted you guys to hear that, because it does seem like the industry is having a reckoning, and people are realizing that this really hasn't been about just creating music. Hollywood is not just creating music for your entertainment. They are giving out frequencies, and they are modifying your behavior based on the frequencies that they are giving out. And so it's important to know what it is that you're listening to.
And we all know who owns the labels.
How did they come back? If the Nephilim survived after the flood, or returned, then the question becomes the following. Where are they today? Where are they now, Josh?
Let me tell you, Chris, this isn't just wild speculation. These, they're accounts, you know, military whistleblowers and ancient tribal stories pointing to specific places where these beings are still hiding, actually.
Yes, yes,
right?
I believe they could be, guys, and we just have to spill the beans. I believe, and based on the research that we've done, and we're not the only ones, that they're in Antarctica. right now the Nephilim are in Antarctica. This is why they have a great wall that nobody can go over. And another thing that we've discovered that I've known for quite some time is that there are 5 additional continents in Antarctica that people don't know about. And this is all protected.
Genesis 6:4. There were giants on the earth in those days and also afterward.
Coffee.
Thank you. You'll never take me alive. Pour the hot coffee all over me. Oh,
Is there a reason why you would say that?
no.
So what were you doing on Thursday at 7:45 p.m.?
What were you doing? I'm just kidding.
Why were you at the Westland Mall at 8:30 p.m.?
Well, I definitely wasn't murdering someone.
How did you know this was a murder investigation?
I did. Someone was murdered?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I wasn't doing that. Sorry. I was shot. I needed new jeans.
So you're saying you had nothing to do with this?
I don't know. What if I pulled out this buy one get one free Arby's cherry turnover coupon and sent it over to you? What would you say then?
Are you trying to bribe me?
No. I'm just kidding. I wish I had one of those. Imagine if you guys like grabbed the back of my hand and start beating against the table. Where's she? Rachel!
Ma'am.
Sorry.
Things you say really don't help you out.
Okay. Well, I feel like this date isn't going well, fellas. Check, please.
Okay, you're definitely free to go.
Okay. Yeah? Anyway, I gotta finish my coffee. Can I finish it?
You can take it. Yeah.
Okay. Good night, boys. Hope you catch them.
Wait, this was real? I thought this was a joke.
This man teaches you exactly how to do a money ritual, but it's with a demon. Listen to this.
Ritual. I know all y'all need money. But some people already know this ritual. A simple ritual, the Legba ritual. You go to a crossroad on a Monday.
You know what happens at a
corners,
crossroad?
what a crossroad is, 4 corners. You take 4 pennies, you put on each corner. Right? Put on each corner. Then you ask a Legba for what? Financial lead or financial gain. And it takes about a week, but you will get that money. You understand what I'm saying? That's only in Dire Straits. But that's what you do. You go to that crossroad and put 4 pennies. And remember, it's the God of Legba.
By no way am I saying do this. And if you do decide to do this, be careful with what comes with the money. There may be demonic ties and unintended consequences that come with this money. It sounds like the guy that's talking about it, Bobby Hemmett, might know from first-hand experience what he's talking about. As always, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay weird.
The devil will never do anything for free. Seek God and all things will be added on to you.
Accept the pain. Smile at the pain. Embrace the pain. Pain is the gatekeeper of destiny. Pain is there to ask you one simple question. Do you really want to achieve your goals? Or are you just a talker? Tell your pain wherever you want to go. Pain will build the stairway to the top.
Turn your pain into purpose.
Ever wondered how some guys can just lock eyes with a woman and instantly have her hooked, while others manage to just look creepy? What if I told you there's an eye contact trick nobody talks about that makes all the difference? Stick around, because I'm about to expose it. Point number 1, the silent countdown. Intensity without awkwardness. Guys, the silent countdown is an absolute game changer, especially because so many men get eye contact completely wrong. Think about it. Most guys either nervously glance away the second a woman meets their gaze, or they stare way too long and come across as a serial killer. Trust me, neither is good. Here's a trick, and it works every single time. When your eyes meet hers, start counting slowly in your head. 1, 2, 3. Hold the gaze confidently for exactly 3 seconds, and then gently break into a relaxed smile or casually look away, preferably down or slightly to the side.
The eye contact trick is called being tall, dark, and handsome.
I'm here at the ancient site of Laodicea, and this particular location is a 4th century church that was uncovered in 2010, and it appears to be one of the first churches that was built after the Peace of the Church in 315, when Constantine decriminalized Christianity and no longer made it illegal to build physical buildings for churches to worship. Before that, and especially under the previous leadership of the Emperor Diocletian, it was illegal to be a Christian, to gather together to worship, to produce Christian material, and to proselytize. And so when Constantine decriminalized Christianity, it allowed for the gathering together of Christians and to do things like build buildings like this.
There's a
brother in Christ
video that I 100% legitimately play in my mind when I'm tired. I say good. Listen to this video. Have you ever heard this? It's amazing.
I don't think I have.
The universe will put you in the same situations over and over again until you learn. Until you learn to react differently. Until you learn to think differently. Until you learn that enough is enough. Remember this. Old habits do not open new doors. You must eliminate in order to evolve.
The universe does not have the power without God's will.
This is a great one if you want to see MKUltra technology in action. It's one step beyond the sacred mushroom, where Puharish...
One step beyond the sacred mushroom.
One step beyond is the show name, and it's the sacred mushroom. It's on YouTube, and it's Puharish is there flashing lights in people's eyes, hypnotizing them to make them psychic. There's a portion, there it is.
Science is not yet given it
Right there. Keep going.
So if you don't, it's kind of hard to...
That's the early photic and magnetic stimulator that that MKUltra was using. Puharish developed to put people in their states. Yeah, it's an American version of the Leda machine from Russia.
Lower your head a little bit.
Ooh.
A little more. Now.
Sounds awful. It does. Sounds diabolical.
Now I see it. I see so many things I can't tell you. Can't you slow it? Slow it? Now I see but I see so many colors that are... Go... Are they pretty? In geometric signs, now there's like great things. They're magnificent. What they are. They're magnificent. I have never been so aware of color.
What is this thing actually doing?
After this, he goes off and does psychic testing on him and finds that he became much more accurate choosing cards. So it's opening up psychic ability. That was the intent, at least. But it's putting him in a hypnotic state. And this is his
Your iPhones do this. There's an invisible light that flashes your eyes to keep you stimulated and hooked like a drug.
All intelligent people have one thing in common, and this study proves it: the Pygmalion effect. In 1968, researchers told teachers that certain students were academic bloomers with huge potential. What the teachers didn't know, these kids were chosen at random. Then 8 months later, those special students showed massive IQ gains. 2 points in verbal ability, 7 points in reasoning ability, and IQ overall 4 points. So what happened? Their belief in those special kids that weren't special made it real. So when leaders truly believe in people's potential, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you want to succeed, you need to at least start believing in yourself and then try to get around other people who believe in you too.
At first, I thought this was more footage from beyond the ice wall, but it's actually recording from a passenger plane of somebody looking out to the clouds at what appears to be two aliens trying to camouflage themselves with the clouds. Now, this might be just another example of pareidolia, but what we've been seeing in the past few years, especially with the news and the Pentagon revealing that there are UFOs out there, I think this is another example of the aliens trying to reveal themselves to us so that we're more ready for it when they do show up in like 2026 or something, because I've heard it's going to be in the next few years. And there's these two other pairs out there. It looks exactly the same, so this cannot be some type of coincidence. We know that over the Gulf of America recently, there's been tons of videos of UFOs like parking just really low, like as high as a skyscraper, and they're just up there trying to show us that like they're there and getting us more used to them being in the sky.
This happened in Mexico. A couple, they're just having dinner late at night. Okay. And then out of nowhere, they just hear some cries outside of the house and stuff, right? And then the guy starts even saying like, I told my friends, I told them, but none of them believe me. But watch when I show them this video.
Bájale, bájale. Bájale, 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 bájale. Bájale, 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 bájale. Sí, bien noche, ¿eh? ¿Viste con su hija?
Nah.
No te espantes, no te espantes.
Bro.
Y la banda no me cree. La banda piensa que es pura broma. Mis amigos estamos aquí cenando.
Why did the cries match? Like, bro,
You didn't even finish the video either.
Bro, the cries literally match like the same cry tone as nah, bro. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Every single time we record this fucking segment, bro, some weird shit happens in my fucking house, bro.
There was some weird.
If you were to look right now, the Forbes 100 list of the richest people in the world, and you were to see what they made their money from, they're not celebrities. They're not singing songs. They're not doing YouTube. Like, we're not even touching the amount of wealth they have. What do most of them have in common more than anything else? Finance and business ownership. And the businesses they own are largely boring businesses.
Okay.
A video today of this man at like a press conference kind of thing, and he was at one point like pretty high ranked, or like made it pretty high up in the Air Force. He was some sort of like electrical engineer, and he was telling this story about 30 years ago. He was brought into this group for NASA. There was something going on with their lunar satellite. It like wasn't receiving. He said he walked into his room and there was scientists from all over the world trying to figure this out. And he's like, this is strange for NASA to have scientists from all over the world trying to figure this out. And then he was debriefed by this one guy, and he said the guy, when he was presenting this stuff, he was like kind of nervous, and he's like, these are pictures that we have from the dark side of the moon.
They have pictures
where there is base camp on the dark side of the moon, and he was showing pictures of all these buildings. He said it's top secret. And so like he came out and was like, I've been waiting for them to talk about this news for 30 years and they haven't done it yet, and I hope by me saying this they'll bring that out.
Wait a second. Look closely at the bottom of this building. This is the old college at Aberystwyth. Isn't just Tartarian. It's built right on top of the ruins of a Norman castle from the 1200s, which likely sat over even older Celtic or tribal sites. That whole spot has layers of history going way back, long before Castle House was built in the 1700s. Serious energy in that ground.
And look at the people down here. Makes me laugh when closed-minded people say that cameras couldn't take pictures of people back in the 1800s. But here we are in this image. The people look small in comparison to the house. Check out the people closest to the camera in comparison to the size of this architecture. Who built this?
Amazing.
Did you know that if you put water in a container and spin it, the water doesn't just spin around in a big sphere because of gravity. It actually spins away from the center due to centrifugal force. So exactly how is this possible that when you look out into the ocean, all you see is a beautiful flat horizon of water, as far as the eye can see? Take some binoculars and zoom in. You can zoom even further into the horizon. Yet, in outer space, suddenly everything is being clung to a globe by the magical forces of gravity. But some simple jet tricks will defy gravity with centrifugal force. So it just doesn't really make any sense to me. How is the Earth spinning at 1,000 miles per hour and moving at all these other speeds through space and just holding that water together? Gravity. Did you know that you can't actually measure gravity? Look it up. Wikipedia. Anyways, this video was for entertainment purposes only. Obviously, this is real videos of satellites.
Okay. NASA in Hebrew means to deceive.
Donald Trump is reopening Alcatraz. So here's what it was actually like to be an inmate and why it was abandoned. Located in San Francisco Bay, Alcatraz wasn't your average prison. In fact, it wasn't even intended to be one. It was actually a heavily fortified military base used for over 80 years. However, in the 1930s, at the height of America's gangster-fueled crime waves, the government wanted to send a strong message to the public that they were cracking down hard. And so, in 1933, kind of like in 2025, they ordered the military base to be rebuilt and reopened, but this time as a maximum security, minimum privilege, inescapable facility that would eventually house the worst of the worst. If you were violent, uncooperative, or tried to escape any other prison, you would be sent here. Some of the most notorious were Birdman, Al Capone, and George Machine Gun Kelly. Their cell was this tiny 5-foot by 9-foot concrete box that came with the absolute basics: a sink, toilet, table, and mattress that was made out of straw. There was only one inmate per cell, and the bed would fold against the wall because of how small they were. Prisoners at Alcatraz were only given 4 rights: the right to food, clothing, shelter, and medical care. Everything else was earned. Even simply talking was a privilege. Before it was scrapped, there was actually a rule of complete silence, and you were only allowed to talk during meals and recreation. If you broke the rules, you were sent to an even more basic dark cell, and you could be locked in solitary for weeks. Because of how secure the prison needed to be, there was a maximum of 200 prisoners at a time, and each were counted up to 13 times a day. It even had some of the first metal detectors ever used in a prison. But despite this, and being an island surrounded by water, over its 29 years of operation, 36 men still tried to escape, of which 23 were caught, 6 were shot and killed, 2 drowned, and 5 were simply listed as missing and presumed to have drowned. So why the hell did it get abandoned? Well, it was expensive as $3 to $5 million a year just for basic operations, and it was roughly 3 times more expensive than any other prison in the country. But now that it's been turned into a tourist destination, it actually makes around $30 million a year just through ticket sales. So it's very clear to reopen Alcatraz in 2025 wouldn't make sense financially, but it never did. It was always kind of a symbol to the public that things were going to change. And it seems like that's exactly what we're seeing again today. But the question is, what do you think? Should Alcatraz be reopened as a prison, or should that part of America be left in the past?
Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
Never heard about this?
No.
Why you're not supposed to touch other people's elbows?
No, what?
Oh, you never heard of this?
No.
I thought you know this. Okay,
Nah.
so in voodoo itself, there's one specific thing that you have to avoid. It's rubbing elbows with somebody.
Okay.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's this video that went viral on TikTok, and it's of this guy. He's in New Orleans. Now, I don't know if you know about New Orleans like that, but there's a lot of people that practice witchcraft, voodoo, all these different things.
Okay.
He's trying to convince a stranger that he can tell him his future. All he has to do is rub elbows with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now check this out. So the whole purpose of it, and the reason it holds so much danger, is because if you rub elbows with somebody, and somebody that knows what they're doing with it, they can switch their destiny with you.
Ooh.
So it's called a destiny swap.
What the?
It's called a destiny swap. So imagine you're back in elementary school. Whoever you're sitting beside, you rubbed elbows with, you might have swapped destinies with that person.
Yo, I
Wow.
definitely had one of those moments too. Definitely had one of those moments.
So this is the video I'll show you.
Let me see.
It's a random man on the Bourbon Street asking if you can tell him your future. And the other guy says, I know better than that because the shadow man taught me. Something like that. That's what he said.
What the fuck? That's wait, but he has to know what he's doing with that though. Like I bet you a grade 4 wouldn't be knowing like if we rubbed elbows.
Maybe, I don't know.
You know what
I don't know
mean?
how exactly it works.
Yeah.
So they say people like that, they can have a sense of when somebody carries a good destiny or they carry certain spiritual power, and they'll target them specifically, and they'll go up to them and say, they'll try to trick them to touching elbows. They believe the elbow is like a hinge.
Okay.
So you can imagine it's like a hinge to your body, right? It can move different ways really quickly, and it opens like a door. So when you rub elbows with somebody, you could be trading.
So
your
if you do this with a rich man, you will become rich?
It's a simple sign someone is dangerous. And this goes back to a war poem that sings, "The danger you see is nothing but a warning. Loud and ugly, it keeps you afar. But the danger that kills is gentle and charming. It smiles as it waits, then breaks who you are. And what that means is the most dangerous people don't demand power. They offer help without ever solving the problem. They take over responsibilities without you asking. They pretend to make your life easier. And unlike a business, they never tell you what it costs. That's the sign. As the saying goes, feed the lion long enough and it forgets how to hunt. You see, a dangerous person does not try to force people to obey them. They instead focus on making people dependent on them. Because once someone makes you feel like you need them, you'll do whatever they ask
Yep.
you.
And they will flatten your tires just to make you ask them for help.
The underground base and city infrastructure and transportation system that's been built. And
I'm sorry?
yes, so we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Some of these are documented as part of the national security infrastructure. I think there are many more.
In the United States?
In the United States, and all over the world. From 2021 to 2023, I took one of the smartest subscribers in the Slayer Report network, and he and I spent 2 years collecting all the data and all the allegations on underground bases. We systematically went through and tried to estimate our guess, this is totally a guess, of how many underground bases, both underground in the United States but also underground under the ocean around the United States. And our estimate was 170 with a transportation network connecting them.
And what would be the purpose?
If you thought you were going to get a near extinction event,
you cannot hide from God.
Shut the f up. Rule number 1. And the reason why is not to be vulgar. It's because it helped me so much. Because the more you talk, just when you talk in general, the more you talk, the more you reveal, the more people know, the more you solicit, the more people share with you, the more you get confused, the more indecisive you are, the more. And when I learned to stop, self-regulate, not to shoot my mouth off because I was offended. You can only get offended, first of all, if you allow yourself to get offended. There are times that people are going to cross you and disrespect you. Yes? Yes. But like, how often can you be offended? And also, there's times like, who cares? Like, I don't have to have everybody's respect. That's another exhausting thing. I have that, you need to respect me and you need to disrespect me and he disrespected me and I'm Greek. It's a big thing. Like, oh. But that's gonna wear you out, and you don't need it.
Where have you been all my life? Hey, and I apologize about the music. That's how I got it from TikTok.
3 demons that keep you stuck in life, never letting you finish anything ever again. You ever wonder why, no matter how much you want to change, you never change? You keep failing and falling into the same cycle. It's like something always stops you, makes you delay, doubt, feel tired to even try. That's because it's not just you. It's 3 demons that work overtime to make sure that you never reach your potential. Number 1 is Belphegor, the demon of sloth, ruler of one of the 7 deadly sins. He whispers in your mind and says, rest a little longer. You deserve it. He makes you crave comfort so much that the idea of putting effort in feels exhausting. You say, I'll start tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes, he's still there, convincing you to wait again. Number 2 is Asmodeus, the demon of lust, ruler of one of the 7 deadly sins. He makes sure you're always entertained, stuck in a clown show forever. Always occupied, but never productive. He'll have you scrolling for hours, binge watching shows, or chasing quick pleasure instead of real purpose. He convinces you that growth is too painful, so is it even worth it? The last one is Astaroth, the demon of hesitation. This demon is what we call the imposter syndrome. This is the master manipulator. He makes you overthink every single decision until you're too scared to make another move. What if you fail? What if you look stupid? What if this is the wrong choice? So you do nothing. You're trapped in an endless cycle of hesitation. But what's the worst part? These 3 demons work together. against you. When you get tired, the demon of sloth distracts you, and then Asmodeus gets you to act when it's time to act, and then Ashtaroth never lets you act ever again, and it just keeps repeating. And just like that, your life is done. But here's the truth: you can fight back today. This is exactly why I wrote the ebook, The War on Procrastination. It's a battle plan, a spiritual step-by-step battle plan so you can win against procrastination and take your life today. It's linked in the bio. If you didn't know,
now you know.
Now you know.
I rebuke all the demons in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Let anyone use this on you.
And nobody at home use this on anyone else.
Don't use this on anyone else. So there's this thing that NLP people will do, or pickup artists will do, where they move their hand like this, and the other person will begin to nod. Typically, when we do this with our hand, the other person starts to nod, which makes you think, I agree, I agree, I agree.
What are you doing for anyone that is
I'm moving my hand up and down in a nodding yes motion. I've noticed very manipulative people will do is they'll be doing this, they speak like, don't you understand what I'm saying? Do you get this? And the other person will start to nod. And I've seen this entire audience will start nodding, and then you think to yourself, well, I'm nodding, so I must agree with this person. It's a secret way to get someone to secretly agree with you. So just be careful. Don't make sure no one uses that on you.
Please like and subscribe. Does it work?
Do you see this man right here? This is why they want to take down TikTok. So listen closely to what he's about to say, because you're not going to want to miss this.
L-theanine is found in most green and black tea and has a number of potential benefits, especially for people with ADHD and OCD. It has the potential to help with things like intrusive thought, improve focus and concentration, reduce anxiety and stress, improve sleep, improve on your mood, and overall cognitive function. I would invite you to give this a try if you suffer from ADHD, OCD, even insomnia, as this can be used as an alternative to melatonin.
So he's talking about the benefits of L-theanine, and you can see some of them here, but like he said, this can help improve relaxation, reduce stress and anxiety, and even improve sleep. And again, as he mentioned, this can help improve focus and energy, which can be really helpful for people with ADHD and OCD.
All right, I'll try. I'm sold.
You know, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Y'all go grab that mindful thing. God bless you.
Bro, that's you.